All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll. My name is Joy Beck, and I have been asked, Tammy asked me to come on and share some tips about getting back to school and how to make that the easiest transition possible, which is kind of a little funny. If you're a mama um, of more than one, it can be a fun ride. So, a little bit about myself. I am a mama of four. I have ages from almost 29 to 15. And I'm a grandmama of two little darling grandsons as well. So, one of the things that's going to drive me just a little crazy, and I'm going to tell you this right now, just so you can um, hopefully deal with it as best as possible. My camera's a little wonky, so I'm going to talk into the screen, and hopefully where my eyeballs are does not bother you too much. If so, sorry, close your eyes. Um, so another thing about me is I'm homegrown to Idaho. I live in the Idaho Falls area. I have one of the reasons Tammy asked me to come on is because I'm a teacher. I'm going into my 28th year of teaching. I have taught 27 years, and 13 of it has been kinder, with another sprinkling of about almost 5 years of first and second. So mostly littles, but I have taught all the way up to about sixth grade. With that, and the fact that my kiddos have gone through all of that elementary part and then on to even college and marriage, gives me a little bit of schema about some of the things that might be helpful to help you transition from summertime into getting back into the routines of school, which can be fun for some and for some not so much. So we're just going to kind of go through some things. One other thing I'd like to tell you is I'd like to, if you have any really great ideas that I don't know, because I certainly don't know everything, if you have some great ideas that you'd like to share, put them in the chat. I'd love to hear them. Or if you have questions, I'll do the best I can to answer them. I might know the answer, and if not, I can certainly figure it out. I have lots of teacher friends that have ideas, great ideas as well, and there are many of you who could be watching that I know of that are teachers as well. And if you are really, it's not just moms these days. If you have kids, you're a teacher in one way or another. So we all have things that oftentimes we think, it's really not a big deal. It's just what I've always done. But it might be super helpful to someone else. And that's what I found with teachers is sometimes we do things and we just think, oh, that's just what I've always done. It's not a big deal, but it might, what we share, I like to keep it a sharing environment, and what we share could be helpful to someone. And if you get one or two nuggets that can be helpful, that is fantastic. So I want to preface with, if you know me for a hot second, I say a lot of weird things. I kind of do it on purpose, not to be a stinker pot, but just because I think I'm funny. So if I say something really weird and you're like, I'm not sure about that, just remember my world has been littles, as I call them, for a long time. And so that kind of tends to be where I roll with things. With right off the bat, Tammy always has me put in an offer for what my special is. So Kathy does her magic, and there that is. I have some package still, some packs that I'm offering up. I'll explain a little bit more about what that is and where that is, but this is the information on it. Anywhere from, I have a kids pack, and I really am a firm believer of helping kids learn how to self-regulate their emotions and to be able to process them, and they really can learn to be good humans. They really can. I've taught kids for so long, and they really can be nice, and they can feel all the emotions that we all feel. You don't have to stuff them. Grown-ups don't have to either. But kids can learn that. And because I'm really good at helping with emotional and physical trauma release through the modalities that I have learned, I wanted to offer a kids special so that if it was a money issue, that would help take that off the table, because I'm that passionate about helping kids to be able to manage their emotions in a healthy way so that they can have a good life, just like the rest of us want, right? I also put together some other packages, a variety of them, just because some people want lots and some people want just a few. And then the special is to have $25 off of whatever pack if you want to order it. So it's going to run till the end of August, but I wanted to offer that up. And it has the information on there. Joyful Options is my business name. Of course, I played off my name. And I'm on Facebook, and that has that information as well. So with that, the $1 million question, are you all ready for school, right? Have you started to get those questions? Are you ready for school yet? Have you done all your school shopping? And my answer is no. No, I haven't, not yet. I'm working on it. I do a little bit, so it's not slammed on me all at once because I don't particularly like that. I also am getting myself back into some of these routines that I'm going to share with you because it's summer, right? It's summer. We don't go the same schedule. We don't do the same sleep schedule. We don't do any of that. And so even as grown-ups or moms and dads, anyone, if you're a caregiver at all, getting into those routines for you as well is a good deal. It's going to be helpful on that. And who doesn't want an easier transition into school, right? To have it be so that the emotions aren't amped up as much. And so the flow isn't quite as crazy. Because if it's crazy at your house, I'm going to tell you a hint. If it's crazy at your house, when they come to school, they come a little hyped up. They do. And then as a teacher, sorry, I'm going to try one more time and see if I can do this without, I apologize. We'll just roll with it. I'm going to have to look off, and I apologize. We'll work on it. As a teacher, when I have kids that come, I call it being jacked up. Hope that's okay. If I have kids that are jacked up, then what I do, because I've learned how to do it, and it's pretty simple to do. I have those quick conversations and I teach them how to process those emotions so that we can get to a place of neutral. If kids are really, really high or really, really low, it's almost like learning can't quite make it yet. So the easier you can learn to have that flow be in your home and in that process from getting them all the way to school and then back, kind of a thing, that will help your child's learning. And I don't know if that sounds funny or not. It doesn't to me because I've taught more than a minute, but it really is important. And it really can help with how your child is ready for school. One of the biggest kickers is your attitude towards school. Now, if you hated school, and I had many, many friends that hated school. I didn't, but I was that person. I knew from the time I was in 4th grade, because of Mrs. Pierce, I was going to be a teacher. So what was cool about that is along the way, I watched teachers, right? And then along the way, I was actually able to thank her for what she did and the influence she had on me, because I've taught for 27 years and 11 of it was double sessions in kinder. So that's a lot of kiddos. But getting some of those routines down will help. So one of the things, and I'm going to look on this side because I've got my notes here. So I hope that doesn't bug you as well. One of the things is getting back to school type routines. We've been up, you have barbecues, your kids are with cousins, you're going camping, you're doing all of that. That's fantastic. I hope you've done it to where you have just filled up that cup, right? I hope it's just been fantastic. Please don't start the day before school to do a bedtime routine. It's not very helpful. If you can, start about 2 weeks before school starts. For us, that's like next week, or in a week and a half, if you can, and just kind of ease into it. Couple of things with I call them the PM or the bedtime routines, is to set a timer And just, you might sit your kiddos down and have a little chat, have a little chit chat and say, hey, we're getting ready for this. To do this, we're going to start practicing. If you just go, think, and you're just like, nope, this is how we're doing it. I don't really like to be told what to do, and kiddos don't either. And if you thought for a hot second, you don't either. So sit down and go, hey, we're getting ready for this. To do this, we're going to change up some things. It won't be super crazy, but we're just going to get, so we get those good learning habits in. And to do that is getting some of the routines in. So for bedtime, I like to set a timer. When my kiddos were little, I would set a timer for about 30 minutes before you want them to go to sleep. Okay. And in that 30 minutes, have them get their PJs on. If you do a bath or a shower routine at night, have them do that and then get into their jammies. If you can make that part of that routine kind of fun, you can't go wrong with fun, right? But then you have to settle it down. You can also at that time have them choose what they're going to wear the next day. Let your kids, if you can handle it, and I can say that nicely because I wasn't that parent, but there are parents that can't handle letting their children choose their clothes. That's okay. Give a little. But set out their clothes. Have their clothes, set it out, have a spot, like maybe the end of their bed or maybe a spot by the door, so that you're not running around. I only have one sock. Where's my unders, right? I've done it. My kiddos have done it. And I'm like, oh man. And you think you're going to wear something and it's in the bottom of your laundry basket, right? So let them choose as best you can. With that, have a routine, whatever your routine is, whether you do a chart, put on some PJs, have your kids put their clothes where they're supposed to go, their dirty clothes, helping to teach them to be self-sufficient and to take care of their own things, instead of mamas are typically the friends that like to hover, right? Hovering doesn't help your child, I promise, because then I have to unteach them that. But I'm just checking the side to make sure that I haven't missed any comments. Have them brush their teeth, whatever that looks like, right? Give them choices with that. Maybe you let them, do you want to brush your teeth in the bathroom or do you want to brush your teeth in the bathtub? Change it up if that doesn't drive you bonkers, right? Have them grab a drink of water and have them go to the bathroom. Now, when they first get back, and if your child's worth their spit, they're going to push it. They're going to try to, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm going to wet myself. They're going to try everything. And you just say, oh, no, we've got this, and kind of roll with it. But the more that you give in, they're going to work you like a fine fiddle. They just are. I did. So why? And you probably did as a kiddo too. So try that. When that part gets done, if you can, sit down and read with them. Have some books. Find some of their favorites. And this is the teacher in me, and I'm kind of a leaker, so that means if I might cry because this is one of my passions, right? Read to them. Sit down. Have them sit on your lap. Have them sit next to you. You can do book on tape. I know that's old. Audible, excuse me. But read to them if you can. Even if you just read like one story, read to them. Have a book in their hand. It makes a difference. And I won't even go into all of that. You can also have them listen to soft music. You can have them, if coloring and drawing is calming for them and they don't go crazy with it, you could just maybe have some coloring time together. But spending, even if it's like 5-10 minutes, but spending that time, that one-on-one time, if you can, or if you've got a couple of kiddos, have them all be there. Read a story to them and then tuck their sweet little heinies into bed. Give them a kiss if that's what you do. Do whatever on that kind of routine that you have before they go to bed. And then just say, hey, when this timer's done or whatever, we're going to have lights off. Now, if your kiddo still needs a nightlight, let them. Who cares, right? If you're going to argue about that, the lights off, and who cares? It doesn't matter. But whatever that works. We have a salt lamp that I turn on, so then it gets that good juju as well. But one of the biggest things with the nighttime routine is to not have it be as fun as it can, like at the beginning, and then to calm it down and to have it not be rushed. And there are days, let's just face it, there are days it's going to be rushed. There's days you're going to go, oh crap, ugh. Sorry I said that. You didn't watch the time, or you had to go to this event or this event, or you were working on your homework or whatever, and life gets away. And when that happens, this is my favorite phrase, and I teach my kiddos, and it's really kind of funny because sometimes I even have to demo it. It's called tuck and roll. It means you roll with it. If you're so regimented that it has to be on a schedule and this is how this is, your child, depending if you have more than one, you have different personalities, right? Your child might be able to be like you and live with that, and they might not. And that's going to look a lot of different ways. It could look as pushback, as being naughty, as being belligerent, being not handling that structure. So if things aren't quite where they want to be, you own it as a parent. You say, man, this is a little crazy. I'm feeling this. But it's okay. We're just going to roll with it. This is how this is, and move forward. And if you're verbalizing how you're feeling without saying, man, you make me crazy, or you're driving me crazy. When you say those words, you're giving them power. And depending on the kid, I have 4 kids, and 2 of them would have went, I just got power from mom. So I don't know if your kiddos are like my kiddos, but instead of doing the you statements, they're called I statements, where you can own how you're feeling. And then another thing you can do at the end of the day is maybe share out what was great, what was a great thing at the end of the day. Our brains will focus on oftentimes what you think about at the very end of the day. So if you're thinking and you're at the end of the day as a grown up and you're thinking, man, I've got this and this and this and this and this and this and this to do, maybe you should write that down and get it out of your head, right? So that you can sleep. If you are thinking about all the problems that you've had in the day or in the week, or upcoming ones that haven't even happened yet, but you're giving them power, then that's kind of where your brain continues to go. So being grateful at the end of the day is a good habit. And I can tell you, as a teacher, if I do these kinds of things, the grateful thing at the end of the day, sometimes I do it at the beginning of the day in my classroom, because it's not a common practice to notice the common practice, sadly, overall, to notice what goes wrong, or what you got cheated out of, or what was unfair, that kind of thing. And so I do teach my kiddos, and that's my students, I do teach my kiddos to look for greatness, because that's what I'm looking in them during the whole day. And so I try to teach them, hey, why don't you be on the lookout for greatness? Notice who's been helpful. So even if it's just, man, I really liked playing in the sand, or I really liked going for a walk, just even having them kind of review their day, or to look for something that they're looking forward to, that they're happy about. Not so much what they're worried about, but what they're happy about. Now, with that said, if they are fussers and they get anxious, and I get it. I'm that way at times. I have some of my own children that are that way at times. Another thing you can do is just help talk them through that. If they're nervous about things, maybe talk about, what is it, something that's a for reals that makes them really nervous, or is it something that they've just created in their head that is so big now, because that's where what you focus on is where your energy goes, right? And so if they are really worried about something, probably one of the least effective things we can do as parents is go, oh, that's silly, don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. Well, if they're feeling it, it's a big deal to them. Now, does it mean it's the end all? Probably not. Because we know, right? We know the big picture. But to them, whether it's littles, even in high school, like if they're fussing about something, if you can, take a minute and have a conversation with your kiddo. Find out, okay, what's the deal? Like, is something about friends? Is it something? It's usually not about us as parents. And oftentimes as parents, we think it's about us, right? And especially moms. And I can say this with love because I'm a mama. But sometimes moms, you take things personal, like, oh, that hurt my heart, or you're offended by something. And really, oftentimes, as I've had my kids, and my kids are from 15, I'll have one in the home this year, which will be a little bit weird, but they've all survived, right? None of them lost a limb, or I didn't, it all worked out. But the one thing I found out is they really it's usually about their friends, right? Or someone that's been unkind. And the more you can have that open communication with your kiddo, it works. And the thing is they'll treasure that. I have grown-up kids that will go, remember when we did this? Or, they have that communication that no matter what topic it is, see, told you, a little bit of a leaker. No matter what topic it is, they know I'm safe. They know it's safe to talk to me. They know there's not going to be any judgment. There's not going to be any shaming. There's not going to be any downplaying of it, that it's safe. But I've also taught them how to share things in a respectful way. And that's a possibility with kids as well. Even in kids these days, as I hear all the time. If I can teach my kindergartners, all kids can learn. And there's usually some grown-ups that need a little bit of a revisit on that. So that is a little bit about the PM. In the AM, the morning routine, it helps to have a routine as well. Whether you sit down, for some kiddos, they might need a visual. You might need to just clip art some pictures of brush your teeth. Some kids need a chart. Some kids, I tend to scroll factor it. That means my focus can go pretty darn quick, if you know me, for a hot second. And so some kids, I probably would have benefited from a chart with pictures. Okay, to help me, especially when they're little. If they can't read yet, that's okay. Do pictures, right? You might even, one fun thing to do is to have your child do the task, to take a picture of them, and then make them the pictures for that. So that's just kind of fun. Getting up, where they put their clothes, do they make their bed, all of those kinds of things, you get to decide. I'm not going to tell you on that. I'm lucky sometimes pull my sheets up and cover. Everybody's different, and it's not good, bad, or ugly. It's just how you roll, and that's okay. And if your neighbor or your best friend does whatever and makes a homemade meal, breakfast every day, well, good for them. It doesn't make you less, and it doesn't make them better. It just makes it different, and that's okay. Getting dressed, teeth, having breakfast. Breakfast is a big, huge thing that your child needs to be able to have the brain power to learn. And I can tell you this, I have snacks. I have extra granola bars. I have things in my room, and I have for 27 years. Because there are some kiddos that don't come with breakfast. Some kids, it's because they're stinker pots, and they don't want to eat what mom's fixed. Well, that doesn't roll really well in my world. But if they have nothing in their tummy, they aren't ready to learn, right? And it can be a variety of things. It doesn't have to be packaged things that you buy. You could make, I always like to, because I rolled as a single mama off and on throughout my journey, and I'm there now again. But to prep, do some meal prep, and you can meal prep for breakfast. Maybe make some mini pancakes, and then you cook up a whole bunch. Have your kids help you Have them help you measure out if you can deal with it. Have them help you in this process. Say, we're just going to really make this as fun as possible. I'm here to tell you, fun is where it's at. But to have them help you, and then have those, you can make them, put some in the freezer, put some in the fridge, and then they pull it out. And if they can help with gathering it so that you don't become this waitress to them, right? These kiddos can help, and they can get their own things, and they can clean up, and they can put their things away. And one reason I say that, if you allow your kids to have ownership in their little worlds, and they have responsibilities, and you're not going behind them doing everything for them, when they get to me and any other teacher in their world, they aren't going to expect me to take care of them like that, right? Because they're able to. They're so much more capable than we really think. So, and I'm sorry, I was just checking the comments real quick. It's breakfast. The other thing is to have their backpack be in a set space, whether it's on a hook, whether it's on the back of their door, so they know where it's at, so that when it's after school time and they've done their homework, and I'll talk about some helpful things with that, then they will be able to have that. So you're not going, crap, where's my backpack, right? As you're running out the door because you slept through your alarm. It happens, right? That's always helpful. After school routines are one thing that I don't know if many parents think about, but it's super important. When your kiddo comes home, give them some downtime. Set a timer, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 45, probably not an hour. They probably don't need an hour, but some downtime and a snack with some kind of protein in it as well. Cheese sticks, jerky, whatever, some fruit. Have them have some downtime if that works. Now, some of you are going from one thing to another, or like from school to daycare. If the daycare peeps don't have snacks, send them with snacks. Kiddos, school's tough stuff. One of the things that we forget as grown-ups is learning is a tricky deal. And depending on how your thinker works, some of us, I was one of them. Some of us, learning wasn't as easy as for other people. And so even in kinder, you think, oh, it's just your colors and your shapes and your numbers and whatever. Well, it's a lot. Plus, I'm teaching all of that. Plus, I'm teaching social skills, and I'm teaching them how to be nice humans, all in the mix of it. And it's kind of a lot for them. And so give them some downtime, whether it's maybe whatever that looks like for you. It could be you give them some screen time and you set a timer, because man, you can blow through that and you get busy doing something, and next thing you know, they've been on something for about 2 hours, and that's not super helpful. And after that downtime, and talk to them about it. Say, hey, we're going to do some downtime and a snack, and then we're going to do some homework. Now, it might work that you work best. Figure out what works in your life. Maybe doing homework right after that downtime is best. Maybe it's right after dinner. Maybe you're a morning person and you want to do it before school. My suggestion is not to put it off that far, but if that's what works for you, groovy. The other thing is to have a place to do your homework. Have it be at the same kind of area, if you have a coffee table, if you have a bar that they can sit at, if you have a table, if they have a desk, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go out and buy something, but to have a spot that this is where you do the homework. And when they're little, you're going to be involved in that homework. So if you're making dinner and they're there, you can kind of help check on that. If they're a little older, it might look a little different. They might need a computer, and wherever that lives in your world, it's up to you. But to have a place that they can do homework, and when they're all done and they've done all that they need to do, they put everything back into their backpack, and then they put their backpack where their backpack should live. Because then it's less chaos in the morning when you're ready to roll out the door. So with that, let's look. Oh, some ideas for school supplies. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've been I've gotten school supplies for littles. I've had them when I've had all of them in the school at the same time, and I get it. Even if you get just a little bit at a time and then a little bit at a time, some things that are a teacher tip, cheap doesn't always save you money. Because sometimes when you get the off brands of things, and oftentimes schools will recommend, we can't ask people to bring things, but we do usually do a recommendation, and there's usually a reason for that. If you're wondering, I wonder why they want Crayola instead of, I don't even know the name of it. There's an off brand of them. I'll tell you why. They last longer. They don't break. They are true colors. So on crayons, you're going to want maybe like anywhere like from a 16 pack to a 24 pack. Your child does not need a 94 pack set of crayons to take to school so that you look like you're the best mother ever. I can tell you, I've had kids that bring them and I say, oh, these are so great. And I'm going to have you keep them at home so that you can enjoy these at home. That's just way too many for us because it's just too much. Another thing is pencils, and pencils make a big difference. Oh, pencils can be the nemesis of teachers. The Ticonderoga, I almost said that wrong the first time. Those are the best ones. There are off-brand ones. There are cutesy, fruitsy ones that have the coloring on the sides. Those don't sharpen well. They break more often. They're cute. Keep them for home, right? And then you can experience that loveliness of it. Having school clothes that fit. And for me as a mama, I would buy for like 3 months because I'm not going to buy all of it, right? And they grow. The little buggers grow. So buy enough that you're not having to do laundry every other day, right? Have enough socks and unders and shorts or pants or whatever they can wear, and check with your school. They might have a dress code. They might not be able to wear flip-flops, but when your darling goes in with flip-flops, and if there's a fire drill, it's going to scare the snot out of them. It's not a safe thing. And so there's reasons for it. And my favorite are thrift stores. I give all kinds of good things to away when we're done. I don't believe in keeping it if I'm not going to use it. And so do other people. I buy at thrift stores and I love finding treasures. So if you make it fun, that might be an option for you. And it's a little less money. Shoes. If you are buying shoes for school for the new school year, please don't wait till the night before or the first day of school to let your darlings wear those shoes. Let them break them in so that they're not having blisters on top of all of the new school everything. Okay. I've just seen one or two more kids do that, and then I have to, we put Band-Aids on, and then they have to heal, and it's never fun. A teacher parent tip is please be patient with your kids, teachers. First of the year, your kiddo's going to be anxious or excited. You're going to have you get from one end to the other as a teacher. I have kiddos that have loved school and missed every day during summer. I have kiddos that they could have 5 summers shoved in a summer, and that wouldn't be enough summers for them before they go back to school, and all of the in-betweens. So your kiddos might do one or the other, and that's okay. But your attitude towards school carries over. I have many, my mama hated school. Yep, I can tell, because that's how it's coming through to you, is that school sucks. Well, it may or may not have. It doesn't have to be. Even if your kiddo super, super struggles, your attitude about school will influence how your kids respond to school. And if you struggled, it's okay to say, man, I really struggled, but we're going to make it a great year. And then communicate with your teachers. Communicate with them. There'll be some kind of system that they'll use to communicate. And if there's a wonder, or you're like, that doesn't set well, instead of going at their throat, which I just have seen along the way. Luckily, not too many towards me, but I have as well. So I'm not exempt from it. If you have a wonder or a concern or a flat out holy Moses kind of worry, go to them. Ask to meet with them because it oftentimes it's miscommunication, and a conversation will resolve that as compared to posting it on Facebook and gossiping with your neighbors and then going and spewing. I've never found that to be helpful, even as just for myself. The thing that I tell my parents at the first of every year, I'll believe half of what I hear about you if you believe half of what you hear about me. Kiddos are going to spew it through their eyes, right? They're going to go from how they see things. And if it's unfair or they feel it's unfair, depending on how you roll at home, they might work you like a fine fiddle. So you're going to want to really kind of watch that. And then just that communication. We know as grown-ups, if we hold it in and we fuss about it, all we do is build it all up, and then it becomes bigger than what it originally started. So the other thing that's really great with this is if your kids see you having a dialogue or having a conversation about struggles, big or little, and they watch you use your words, and I teach my kiddos that in my class, like, oh, we use our words. If they watch you solve situations or miscommunication with your words in a respectful way, guess what? They're going to learn that. If they watch you fly off the handle and say all kinds of things and throw things and verbally attack people and get really, really amped up, guess what they're going to do? Chances are they're going to mimic you. And the reason I know that, mine did. And the other reason, I've seen it. So the better that we can be as grown-ups to be nice humans, it's going to help the kiddos as well. So, another thing at the beginning is your kiddos are going to be exhausted, right? You're going to put them to bed at a better time, get them ready for that. And then the first month, I just always say, I'm like, hang on, Bessie, right? You're just going to want to give them, excuse me, they're going to be tired. And tired might look different for people, for kiddos. Some might come home and crash and take a little nap. Some might come back and they're just amped up and they just have all this energy and they just want to burn it all off, right? That's what outside's for. Some come and they're grouchy and it's like they're a porcupine. And so you got to learn where your kid is and give them a little bit of grace with that. Be a little more patient with it because it's a change of routine, and we as humans like things in a certain way, right? So changing that up sometimes makes it a little tricky for these little humans. I'm just going to check real quick to see if there's any questions. Along the way, if you have any questions, please put them in, or you can reach out to me on my Facebook later if you come up with something. I'm just kind of looking through some ideas that I do to kind of help with my kiddos when they come to my classroom and they're amped up. Either they're really upset because their sister did something or their brother did something and ate their cherry, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what it is. But if they come amped up, a couple of things that I do and I teach my students to do that helps. Breathing techniques help. Go Noodle is a free, you can Google it, Go, G-O, Noodle, N-O-O-D-L-E. Go Noodle is a site that has a whole slew of different interactive activities. Some are cartoons, some are kiddos they have from guided dance stuff that they follow through, and they think it's great because it's like, footloose, and they're thinking, oh, this is so cool. And I just chuckle every time. But there are activities that they teach breathing techniques. That was my point. They teach breathing so that we practice breathing like a bee. We practice breathing like an elephant. So they have some cute things that you can learn and practice, and you can pull it up at home. It's not just a teacher thing. There's also ones that are for getting the wiggles out, like I call it. There are ones that are for getting mindful and calming down. So breathing techniques are a great way to do it, and I call it box breathing, and I teach my kiddos box breathing, and I draw a little box, and sometimes I'll even have it so that we practice drawing in the air. And it's breathing in. So you start small, like you breathe in for 2, hold it for 2, breathe out for 2, and then hold it empty for 2. And that's you do that 3 or 4 times. Sorry, you can hear my cat. He wants to come in. But breathing techniques are a great way to help kids calm down. Sometimes I'll give them a task. I might say, hey, will you go and sharpen these pencils? Can you help me? Right? And to just have them change, either giving them a task to do. Kids typically want to be helpful. Having them be able to help someone else and to kind of get them out of their own head is always a good thing. I'm trying to get my girls to get the cat out. I don't know if you can hear. So another thing that I do, and I use it in my classroom, but then I've also shared it with my parents as well, as there are, depending on what your family does, there's a lot of oils and oil blends that you can put on their little feet before they go to school, or you can have it. You just always want to check with allergies, right? Because you don't want anyone in the class to have a problem with it. But oils can oftentimes, lavender is one of my favorite. Reset. In fact, I always have it with me because I use it all the time. And where's my camera? This is one that Tammy, obviously I'm good with this, Tammy had commissioned to make. There's just different oils that can be helpful to calm them down and be able to just be to neutral so that they can learn a little better. There's also things that you can get, some sensory things, and not like a fidget spinner, kind of like where they make it into a toy, but some things that they can rub or hang on to for calming. I have gemstones. That I have a bowl of gemstones that I have in my classroom, and I'm just like, oh, so do you need to hold one of my rocks? And I'm like, why don't you go pick one and you can hang on to it and just rub it a little bit. It sometimes helps me because I wear them. I use them. And so for me, it works. And so that might be one that you might get some bracelets or something that they can just have. And then if doing that helps them with either focus or to stay, to calm down, or if they really have some attachment issues and have a hard time leaving you, and kids do, and that's okay. There are ways to work with that. Just going to check real quick to see. Yes, Tiffany says that gonoodle.com, and thank you for putting that in there. I appreciate that. It is super helpful, and they have it from one end to the other, and so it's fun. And they have it in English and they have it in Spanish, and sometimes I'll throw that in and I'll start speaking to them and they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's okay. I kind of am. Some other things that I mentioned about breakfast and about having, if you want to meal prep to help with that process. Another thing that you can do is you can meal prep and have some of those the meals that your family likes to eat, and like cook up the meat part of it. So that's already done, and either cook up for the week and put it in the fridge in portions, or put it into correct amounts and then put it in the freezer. So when you're home, and some of you are lucky enough to not have not work. And some of us have to work, and that's okay. But if any way that you can streamline or make it less crazy for you, and I say crazy with kindness in my heart because I resemble that often, the better. And if you can involve your kids in that process so that it's not all on you, so that, oh, I'm like, well, you all live here, so you get to help, right? And I feel the same way about chores, and I feel the same way about a lot of things, that the more the kids can be a part of their ownership, there's better chances they're going to value it as compared to just being entitled. And we've all been in a store or two where we look at someone's kid and go, holy Moses, is that really, and in my head I go, I really hope my kids never act like that. And have they? Yeah. At times. I'm certain I did too. At times. Usually not around our parents though. But those are some ideas to just see if that will help you with getting ready for school. I'd love any input with that. I certainly don't know all of the answers. I just know that if you can get some type of routine and lessen the chaos, it helps you. And if your life isn't as crazy, the kiddos get that way too. Oftentimes when I was a single mama the very first time, I didn't know any better. I thought, oh, well, it doesn't really affect them, right? These are grown-up issues, not kiddo issues. And yet they were affected. And so being able to have some tools and tricks that in place could be helpful. The other thing I'm going to tell you about, because I love Tammy and I love her energy conferences. We've got one coming up in October, and I'll be there. I'm always very excited and blessed and honored to teach at them as well. And one of the things, one as I call my superpowers that I learned from Dr. Bradley Nelson, is I offer up mini sessions for body code, emotion code, and then for foot zoning. And one of the things that I don't directly do in my classroom, but I do teach how to process emotions with my students in a general term so that they know they don't have to be stuck in those yucky emotions and the ones that don't feel good. And the conference coming up in October, it's October 8th. It's in Pocatello, Idaho at the ISU campus. And I'll be there. There's going to be great speakers. There's just some fun ones that she has lined up, which is always delightful. And in that, I'll be able to teach more about body code and emotion code. Some people know what that is. Some people don't. I also do a lot of sharing out of things that have worked for me. Amino acids is one of my absolute favorites. And it's funny because I have them here, and it's not really, I didn't put them there for you people. I put them there because I take them, and because they've benefited me, and I've been able to get off of some medications, and I take those. And anytime I can do that and it works for me, great. And so I'm always happy to share because it might work for you. And I like to get ideas from other people. So I appreciate your time. I hope that you've learned something that might be helpful. If by chance something resonated with you and you're like, man, I should try that, please let me know. I always love to hear if something that I've seen along the way from the bajillion parents that it seems like I've taught their little kiddos, because these ideas aren't all from me. But if something that you have heard today, you try. And if you've tried it, man, maybe it works, and let me know if it works. And if it doesn't work, let me know if it doesn't work. And then let me know what you did to do it, to make it work. Because I really do believe this collective learning and the collective sharing of ideas raises everybody's awareness. And anything we can do to help with kids in this, to transition into school in an easier fashion, it's a good deal for everyone, not just the kiddos and not just the teachers, but everyone. Thanks, guys. I think I'm still going. So I know that Kathy wanted me just to put this up one more time. So these are the specials. You're welcome. I have them posted on my Facebook page as well. And I do have, for whatever reason, I don't think we got the link for a discovery call. One of the other things I like to do is I've created a link, and I'll put it on my Facebook page, both my personal and my business Facebook page, Joyful Options, is I will, I have a link for a discovery call, which is just like, see if we're a good fit. I can explain a little bit about the emotion code and body code, and I offer the harmonic light therapy and from Lumaceuticals, as well as foot zoning. So it kind of gives an idea and see if maybe if you'd like to work with me, if we ever a good fit. Might be something, maybe I'm not a good fit, but if I know someone who would be a better fit, I'm all about sharing with that. So these are my offers, and the special is that $25 off of any kind of pack till the end of August. So you can let me know that you've seen this off of Tammy's Facebook Live, and I'm so happy to help wherever I can. Thanks.